Welcome to the Epic Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Caitlin Blundell, your host for today, and I'm so excited to welcome Mackenzie Gorman, the driving force behind Meadow Aesthetics in Wichita, Kansas. In her business, Mackenzie is passionate about helping people look and feel their best.
Think about, even if you're just trying to grow a small team of something that you can really make your business to where it's not totally encapsulated by you, even if that's just one or two employees, to where you can step away from your business and still have something that you can sell at some point that's not just you.
And today, she's joining us to help other business owners feel great about their businesses too. So let's start with the top 3 things that you did that have made you successful in business, and maybe tell us how others can follow in your footsteps.
Top 3 things. So that it's difficult for me to narrow down to 3 things, but I think first and foremost, I just had a very clear vision with what I wanted to do with my business. And so I think that's really what's made me the most successful, is just knowing where I started and knowing where I want my business to go, and just trying to navigate from point A to point B. That's been by far the biggest thing that's made me the most successful. Also, I'd say number 2, I started very small. Right now I'm a solo entrepreneur. I own my own business. I don't have any employees. And so I do have big goals to develop into a bigger business. However, I feel like that would have set me up for failure from the get-go if I started out that way. So for me, that'd probably be my number 2 thing, is just I just started really small and focused on what my niche is and what my specialty service is for clients. And then number 3 would probably be, honestly, just word of mouth and networking with other business owners and like-minded people in my community. I feel that was really helpful in building a business from basically nothing, from the ground up.
Has your vision always been the same since you started the business, or has it kind of evolved over time?
I would say it's kind of changed over time. I have 3 young kids that I'm raising. And so, at first I thought I wanted to have this huge medical spa with, multiple locations and, 100 employees and all this. And I feel I've kind of narrowed it down to really particular things that I want. And yeah, so I feel it kind of changes as I go on my business entrepreneurship journey, but overall, I feel it's still kind of the end goals have kind of stayed the same as far as the culture that I want to drive into my employees down the road. And so I feel the culture has always stayed the same. It's just the physical goals maybe have changed over time.
What made you decide to go into business in the first place, and why this particular business?
I'm a nurse practitioner. I started out as a nurse. I did bedside nursing for 10 years. And gosh, I was mid-20s, late 20s, starting a family. And I was wow, my wrinkles on my forehead are really bad. And so I went and had an aesthetic treatment done as a customer. And I was I think this is kind of the route that I want to go with nursing. And so that kind of was the one, getting a treatment myself and the service that I provide was probably the one thing that kind of made me go down the journey of looking into this field of nursing. As far as going into my own business, I didn't start my business from day one. I was an employee and I worked for other medical spas, and I think that was important for me to learn as an employee along the journey of becoming an entrepreneur with the goal that this is I want to do this by myself at some point.
What does it mean to you to be able to run your own schedule in that way?
I feel there's pros and cons of that. As the only provider here, it's if I don't work, I don't make money. So, but it's if my kid wants to go have a field trip, then I can just block off my schedule for a couple hours and be I'm not going to see patients for a few hours and go enjoy the time at the zoo or whatever with my kids. And so the flexibility in the schedule has been probably the best part of being an entrepreneur for me. So yeah, it's been a good good experience for me.
I bet you learned a few things as an employee that have helped you be a great boss to yourself.
I did. I've worked, my family and I, we have moved a couple of times over the last several years. And so the aesthetic medicine industry is difficult in general just to get your foot in the door. And so luckily I had the opportunity to be an injector in other areas and multiple different medical spas. And there was pros and cons of that. Like I didn't have any of the overhead and I didn't have any say in like the things that were happening necessarily. I didn't have to make those big executive business decisions, but at the same time, like I learned like what kind of leader I wanted to be and what kind of leader I didn't want to be. And so I feel like it did help me as a business owner, like learn like what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do with my business.
What's been your biggest challenge? And maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you overcame that.
I feel like my biggest business challenge has honestly just like been learning how to do business. It's like I went to nursing school to learn how to be a nurse. I went to nurse practitioner school to learn how to be a nurse practitioner. And like I didn't go to business school. And it's like I didn't know anything about business. And honestly, I would say that's probably still the biggest challenge that I'm facing now. And it's something that I kind of have to guide through on a daily basis, which is why I have a business coach to help me with that. But it's still a challenge that I face all the time because at heart, like I'm a nurse and I'm a provider, and it's difficult to wear all the hats and be a business owner and a clinician in a business as well.
Is there any kind of story or example you can tell us about that? Maybe something that helped you kind of overcome some of that being stuck or not knowing the next move?
A lot of it was just like just business knowledge in general. It's like I felt like I didn't have a great grasp of anything business related at all. And so usually like when I would go to like an aesthetic medicine conference or something, I'd focus on the clinical aspect of like injecting and becoming a great injector, because that is important to like be a master at what you do. But I have learned that it's been helpful for me to like maybe attend an extra conference or two per year and just focus on the business side of it instead of going to the clinical pieces of it, to just like go and like learn businesses and business specific towards medical spa and like cash-based businesses has been probably the best helpful, like the thing that's been the most helpful.
And that's a wrap for today's epic conversation here on Epic Entrepreneurs. Huge thanks to our amazing guest for their pouring their heart into sharing their journey. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it, or hit that bell. But until next time, let's make sure you keep dreaming, take massive action, and stay epic.